Tonight in the Cook Report, we're retracing some of our steps.
Without having the Cook Report behind us and helping us every step of the way, none of this would have been possible. We wouldn't have been able to get this far.
We've travelled the world, sorting out some unfinished business. Mr. Pendry, Roger Cook, Central Television. I'd like to talk to you about your skills as an illegal telephone tapper. South Africa, where all too often the safari has been replaced by the canned hunt, the slaughter of drugged animals in the name of sport. This is the butchery we had come to stop. Lions drugged, penned in, and mercilessly gunned down. We're on our way to one of our most dangerous encounters, this time with the men who organise canned hunts close to South Africa's Kruger National Park. Posing as a businessman, I went in to meet our quarry, Sandy McDonald.
Good day, Sandy McDonald. Pleased to meet you. 2/3 down, 1/3 up, right on the shoulder blade. Smoke him in there and he'll bounce around and make a lot of noise and run off and die, probably. And they're not difficult.
Mr. McDonald was keen to con us that his sham hunt was a real safari in which the animal was tracked in the wild and had a fair chance of escape.
It's taken into their body and absorbed, and it hurts them.
But unknown to our hosts, we weren't after the lions.
I want you to find his eyes. I want you to follow his neck down and shoot him where the mane ends, on his shoulder. Shoot him in. Take your time and do a good shot. Remember, he's lying. He's hot. He doesn't want to move away.
Well, let me tell you why I'm not going to shoot this lion. Because he doesn't stand a chance, and you know he doesn't. And I'm not a businessman. I'm a television reporter making a program about canned hunts. And that's what this is, isn't it? This is a canned hunt, isn't it? I'm not shooting that lion. It doesn't stand a chance. It's been drugged. You told us earlier. You know it has. My colleagues are all from the same television company. Let this sink in. This is a canned hunt. I am not shooting that lion, and neither are you. Few of our investigations have prompted such a swift response from government, but the South African authorities have effectively put our canned hunter, Sandy McDonald, out of business. Deputy High Commissioner Happy Malangu.
I think the government was, in fact, very happy because it was something that they didn't know about, and when it came out, it really shocked the government, and they took steps to correct it immediately. The government has prosecuted those who were involved in the illegal hunting, which your program, in fact, revealed. One person's license has been withdrawn. And also the government is looking at legislation and also some regulations to ensure that the industry is properly regulated.
I4, the International Fund for Animal Welfare in South Africa, was also overwhelmed.
We saw an incredible reaction. I4 in South Africa received 50,000 complaints from members of the public who'd seen the programme and who wanted action to be taken. I mean, that really is a phenomenal response for us.
Imprisoned by even more cowardly hunters, the women who were stalked. Mr. Hoskins, Roger Cook from Central Television. We confronted this man, Russell Hoskins, who'd been stalking his neighbour, Elaine McMullen. The woman whose life you've made a misery. You have convictions for making obscene phone calls to her. You threatened her daughter's life. You keep on making silent phone calls. You've even resorted to stealing her doves.
Just as I was leaving the house, the telephone rang, and a man was saying to me that I only had a few minutes to pick my daughter up in, and if I wasn't faster than him in getting to the station, that he would put a knife into her back.
Our programme has led to a change in the law and £12,000 in compensation for Elaine in a groundbreaking legal action. She described the torment that can drive women to the brink.
The fear, the smell that can come from your body when you're so afraid is appalling. And it is appalling. Nobody, no human being should ever be allowed to do this.
And now, thanks to us, the stalker's victims are fighting back. Elaine has set up an organisation designed to help women like her gather the information they need to convict their stalkers.
You look for help, and there is no help. Something had to be done, so what I've actually sorted out is a network of specialised surveillance teams that work with the victims that are being stalked and can help out in numerous amount of ways to be able to gain a conviction. If it hadn't been for the original Cook Report programme that I did, I don't think I would even be here.
We travelled 6,000 miles to Guatemala on the trail of a new breed of unscrupulous predator who feed off that country's poverty, the baby bandits. Exploiting grinding poverty like this and the vulnerability of childless couples over here, the baby bandits have found rich pickings. Babies like these at a nursery in one of Guatemala City's poorer areas are prime targets for the baby bandits, who employ teams of disreputable doctors, social workers and midwives to find them their stock in trade. Babies are taken under false pretenses, stolen and even bought, and so successful are the baby bandits that the adoption of these children to foreigners is now this country's biggest non-traditional export. Steve and Pat Hampson, a childless couple from Preston, set out to help us explore the illegal backdoor route to adopt a baby from Guatemala, as recommended by the Guatemalan Support Group. As they had promised, a baby was duly delivered, courtesy of this notorious baby dealer. Leah Serrano, Roger Cook, Central Television.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about your scandalous record in the adoption business.
I think that you have the wrong person.
No, we have the right person. The person described, for example, in the court documents before you were banned in this particular state as somebody who was a fraudulent seller of flesh without any regard, with wanton disregard. Oh no!
I'm so sorry.
And you are
speak with you.
And you are dealing, as you well know, with a man with an appalling record in Guatemala. Inevitably, the Hampsons came to love baby Jonathan as their own, but bravely handed him back to pursue the legal adoption route, which, even with our help, has taken them a traumatic 18 months.
Whilst I can understand couples being driven to go the illegal route and being driven into the hands of the illegal lawyers and the agents, the middle people, the thing that strikes home is Jonathan, when he grows up, we will be able to explain to Jonathan his background, how he came to be with us, how he came to be put up for adoption. If you go the illegal route, you take that away.
They were back in Guatemala last month to visit their son and finalise his paperwork.
And one of the carers went over and brought him towards us, and we squatted down. He came forward and was holding onto Pat's fingers. Then all of a sudden, he just left go and embraced her. And all the pain that we've been through for the last 18 months just all melted away. We had a wonderful week with Jonathan, and it was heartbreaking having to leave him again, because he understands that we're his mummy and daddy, but he doesn't understand why we had to leave him again.
On Friday, Pat and Steve got the news they'd been longing to hear. The paperwork is complete. Jonathan is officially theirs.
It's just wonderful. It's the best possible news we could have had for Christmas.
Baby Jonathan is now due here legally at the end of this month. In part 2, how the government is cracking down on other dealers in human misery, criminals like this man.
Move.
That's a fairly rational reply, isn't it?
Piss off.
You have been importing illegal immigrants.
Have I? Can you prove it?
Yes, here's an illegal immigrant that you imported.
Have I
Charged it. You charged him for.
Huh?
You can't deny the fact.
You charged him 40.
The fact?
And the ultimate in being caught red-handed. The thieves who, in the dead of night, steal works of art to order. Every week, the dreams of a better life here in Britain are shattered as illegal immigrants are herded like cattle into the UK and into slave labour. India, 1995. We'd come here to show how illegal immigration had turned into a lucrative industry, shipping unsuspecting people over to Britain and often into harsher conditions than those they'd left behind. We put a man undercover in Belgium, the hub of the European smuggling network, to show how a well-organised rat run brought immigrants into Britain at £3,000 a time. It starts with a phone call, and after a first meeting, the victim is passed on by rail, road and sea from one group of handlers to another. And once here, they're often passed over to unscrupulous employers who threaten deportation if they complain about wages and conditions that amount to slavery. The gang had no answer to our questions when we caught up with them. Ravinder Singh, my name is Roger Cook from Central Television. I want to ask you about how you and your family import illegal immigrants.
Sorry?
You and your family import illegal immigrants.
I don't know what the you're talking about.
You certainly... You do know. Here is a lad that you imported and charged £1,500.
Listen, geezer, off from here, right? So don't no, you're right. So just get on my site, you know what I mean?
You have imported illegal... You and your family have imported illegal...
Move.
You and your family in Belgium have been importing illegal immigrants.
You know, you're just a waste of time. You're a fuck. Get the out of my road, I'm telling you. Because if I catch you by, I'll kick your ass. Move.
That's a fairly rational reply, isn't it?
Off.
You have been importing illegal immigrants.
Have I? Can you prove it?
Yes. Here's an illegal immigrant that you imported.
Have I
charged it. You charged him for...
Huh? You can't deny the fact.
You charged him 14...
He
was charged £1,400 to come here, yes?
Yeah.
Yes?
But are they?
The rest of your family are operating in Leuven in Belgium, as you know.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
I have no family there, mate.
We've got you absolutely banged to rights and you know it.
Have you?
So all you can reply with is abuse.
Yeah? Well, if you can go and prove it, mate, go and call the police, arrest me.
I can't arrest you, but you will be. I'm sure you will be. He was and was later jailed. And there's more. The then Conservative Home Office Minister Timothy Kirkup promised action, and the Labour administration has delivered. Just 3 weeks ago, the government called a press conference to announce the formation of a specialist unit at the National Criminal Intelligence Service to tackle the problem, as their Director General, John Abbott, explained.
In the last 5 years or so, it's become far more international in nature. It requires an international response by the law enforcement community. And what we at NCIS hope to do with the Immigration Service is to bring all of our resources to bear to catch these people who are exploiting illegal immigrants.
We were watching the detectives, unprincipled private eyes prepared to break the law. We put ex-Marine turned private detective Cador Pendry to the test. At a meeting at this hotel, he told us how he could tap telephone lines anywhere in the country if the money was right, And he could even get a genuine BT employee to do it for him.
It's going to be put in by an actual BT engineer. There's lots of bits of equipment that has to be dragged in from all over the place, including the BT van, including the paperwork.
What paperwork do you need?
Well, there's paperwork for the cut-offs in case a BT engineer turns up, in case the police turn up, whatever. Then there's paperwork to say while they're there.
We filmed his men at work.
Right, you sorry, let me watch off this phone. 9:05 because it's very
Cheers, cheers. How do you guys know what's in those boxes? That's what I want to know.
You then talk me every time she nicks your jumper.
You what?
You then talk me.
Oh, right, yeah. It's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Obviously, we can't ask you to break the law. I mean, that's...
Well, this is breaking the law.
Yeah.
Really, technically.
Yes.
It's just a matter that we have to make sure it's done so professionally that we don't get caught.
But he did get caught by us at a follow-up meeting.
That's spotted in these circumstances. I mean, what
Well, I usually have some kind of cover story.
You can create business cards, you're a freelance photographer or a bird watcher or whatever. You create.
Mr. Pendry, Roger Cook, Central Television. I'd like to talk to you about your skills as an illegal telephone tapper, which is what you've been doing, and we've filmed you doing it.
Do you want to get a cut? Lovely.
We have filmed you doing it.
Right.
We've filmed you placing a bug, we've filmed you using a bug, we have checked that it was a genuine tap you did, and you know it's breaking the law. What else will you do for money? BT launched an immediate investigation. The man on his knees in the baseball cap was a BT employee who admitted what he'd done, but left before BT could discipline him. However, they could find no evidence against these two men, who are now back at work. One of our longest ever investigations was into the activities of these art thieves, all of whom we caught red-handed. Posing as art dealers, we arranged to buy dodgy antiques, some of which were stolen here to order. Using sophisticated night sights in an art restorer's studio, we were able to follow this thief's every move as he blundered around in the pitch blackness. We even caught him cutting a painting out of its frame by torchlight to get it to fit through the window.
And one just suddenly turned up.
One man we came across, fine arts fence Tony Davis, tried to sell us 16th century miniature masterpieces.
Now I've got the two. I've got her, and it's the same woman, but it's slightly better, you know, when you look at them. And I've got the Earl of Southampton. Have you seen it before?
He brought them with him to a second meeting where he got more than he bargained for. Good evening, gentlemen. Can you explain this stolen property that you have all over the bed here? Results of a recent robbery in Norfolk, where an old man was almost killed. You've also previously sold us paintings which were stolen, a Sego and a Russian painting. Shortly after our program, police raided Davis's home and took away a number of paintings. He was arrested and subsequently got 4 years for handling stolen works of art.
See you later. Okay, cheers.
So because, you know, we all count a little different.
Another artful fence we met was Bob Baldwin, who had an amazing story to tell about how he came to have this £35,000 chest, which we bought from him.
That was being delivered to a place over Oxford Street. These people just walked along, picked off the back of the van, put it on their van and drove away.
Just like that?
Like, just like that.
Hellfire.
Then, of course, it comes in the paper. Blah, blah. I showed you the paper, didn't I?
Yeah.
And that had a price tag on it, 45 grand.
2.5 years after it had been stolen, we were able to spring the best of surprises on the chest's rightful owner.
Oh, that's incredible. Where did you get this? This is my chest. I lost this 2.5 years ago. It was stolen. Oh, that's unbelievable.
What's it worth?
Well, if I had that today, I'd certainly be asking somewhere around £35,000 for it.
It's now yours. Well, it always was, but we've recovered it for you.
Oh, sorry.
Baldwin, seen at the back here, admitted handling the piece and got 2 years. Hillsborough, 1989, the disaster which still haunts British soccer today.
At the end of the day, he was just a little boy who went to a football match and didn't come home. He said he'd be home about 9 o'clock, and I remember saying, have a good day and be careful. And he said, no worries, Mum, 3-0. That was the last time I saw him.
Disgracefully, this particular piece of business is still unfinished. 3 years after we highlighted her case, Anne Williams still battles for the inquest, which she believes will prove her son Kevin, seen here in the crush, could have survived the Hillsborough disaster if he'd received prompt medical treatment at the time. In June, Home Secretary Jack Straw announced a new inquiry into the Hillsborough disaster, headed by Lord Justice Stuart Smith. This followed representations by Anne and other victims' relatives.
At the debate, Jack Straw did promise that if you've got evidence that your child was alive after 3:15, the evidence had been suppressed either at the Taylor inquiry or the inquest, that the judge will send it back to the department where it will be dealt with.
The coroner had ruled that all the 95 victims were brain dead by 3:15 on that fatal afternoon, or if not dead, so badly injured they couldn't have survived. But this footage, first shown exclusively by us, revealed Kevin, ringed here, alive, and an ambulance within yards of him at 3:28. Rescuers who tried to give Kevin the kiss of life were told not to waste their breath. 2 months ago, Anne met with Lord Justice Stuart Smith and received this offer.
Lord Justice Smith told me that he may not be able to give me a new inquest or a new judicial inquiry, but he did say he may be able to establish with more clarity what happened to Kevin in the last 3/4 of an hour of his life, and would that satisfy me?
And after all this time, would that satisfy you?
No, because I know what happened to Kevin from 3:15 till 4. This is why I've been fighting the case. I've got new evidence coming from Dr. Ian West. I've spent hours with forensic pathologists, and I know that there's no way Kevin would have died before 3:15 because his injury wouldn't have allowed him to. There's been fraud, there's been suppression of evidence. They've done everything possible to brush Kevin away. Well, I need an inquest so I can put him to rest and get the death certificate changed, and then I'll pick the death certificate up. If the ambulance had stopped for Kevin, or if somebody had given him just emergency tracheostomy on the ground at that time, he'd be alive today.
Those wanting a fact sheet on stalkers should write enclosing a stamped address envelope to the Cook Report, Stalkers, P.O. Box 96, Birmingham, B1 2JL.